Summer. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be going over my summer TBR with you guys and giving you guys recommendations I think you should read this summer because it is almost here. Summer is approaching and I could not be more excited. There's just something that is so healing about sitting in the sun with a great book, and I think that's why summer seems to be my favorite reading month. So of course I have some recommendations for you guys. I have some books I would love to get off my TBR within these coming months. So we're gonna jump straight into today's video and go over these books, and hopefully you can get some recommendations. Okay, so we're going to start off with recommendations, and when I think of summer, there's one book that specifically comes to mind. I just think it is the soul book of summer, okay? And that is going to be Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. So I mean, for starters, you literally have the word summer on the cover, okay? And it just screams summer vibes. And the premise of the story was just so fun for me. I absolutely fell in love with it. This is a 5-star read for me. So I'm gonna tell you guys what's going on in this book. Okay, so our two main characters within this book are going to be Emma and Justin. And these two just have horrible luck when it comes to true love. It always seems that when they're in a relationship with a person, once that relationship ends, the other person goes and they find their relationship and they're left to absolutely nothing. You know, they're just not good in the field of love. They're having a really hard time. And so Justin actually posts like a blog or whatever you want to call it, talking about what is it, me? Am I the problem? Like, why can I not seem to find my person when every single time somebody leaves me, they go off and they find theirs? And Emma just really connects to this post because she's literally in the same freaking boat, okay? So what happens is they decide, what if we could kind of cancel each other out? You know, you have the same problem that I do, so what if we just dated for a little bit and tried to cancel out the bad luck? So Emma is actually a traveling nurse, and she works all around the country just for months at a time to work at specific hospitals and do her due diligence and then move on to the next, okay? So after she sees this post on Reddit, she kind of wants to go out to where he's at, okay? So she ends up talking her friend into it, and they decide their next place is going to be where Justin is. And so they go there just for the summer, and these two have it in their head that they can just date each other, break up, and then it'll cancel the curse and they'll be able to find their soulmate afterwards. But as you have it, these two did not expect to like each other so much, create so many core memories together. But then we have real life situations flooding into this relationship. I mean, Justin has to assume the care of his siblings and kind of take on the role of a parent. And then Emma's toxic mother comes into the situation as well. So they are just being bombarded with real life situations when they were honestly in this little bubble of a fairy tale. So they have to decide what the next step is going to be. So we go from what was planned to be 4 dates, a breakup, and then finding our soulmate to just feeling a genuine connection between each other. We're only supposed to be here for a summer, so you know when you have that time limit on it, you can't really throw yourself fully into the situation, but they just have this pull that cannot be denied, and they're hopelessly falling in love with each other, okay? But like I said, those other situations come in, and there's just so much tension within this book, and I feel like the way Abby wrote it was absolutely beautiful. The situation she shed light on was also beautiful. Every aspect of this book. I'm being so honest when I say this is one of my favorite books. It is up there in my top recommendations. So if you're gonna take anything from this video, please read this book, especially during the summertime, because it just gives you those feels, okay? And it just makes your soul smile, and I love it so much. Okay, and the next book that I want to recommend to you guys is going to be Happy Place by Emily Henry. You can't have a summer video without discussing Emily Henry.
She's got a point.
I just have a core memory of laying on the beach with this book and being so engrossed in the story because it just really resonated with me, okay? I felt a connection to these characters that was so genuine and so easy, so I devoured this book. I read it super fast. I also believe this was a 5-star read. I think it was 2 summers ago that I read her, but I still think about them in their story. So in this book, we follow Harriet and Wynn, and they fell in love with college, okay? They're little soulmates. They are so utterly in love, and their relationship has just seemed perfect up until it's not. So typically every single year we go on a little vacay with our best friend group, and they're always going together, okay? So In this book, we are at the last year because the cottage is for sale. This is the last year we'll ever be able to do this. So Harriet and Wynne, they know they have to go. Plus, they haven't admitted to their friends that they are no longer together. This is awkward. They've been broken up a few months, but they just haven't spilt the tea to their friends because, I mean, they're both kind of like gutted by this. It's not something they both wanted. And so when we're forced together in one cottage trying to play the role of, hey, we're still utterly in love with each other and in a relationship, they kind of realize how much they still want each other. So because this trip is so important and the last one they'll have at this cottage, Harriet and Wynne are giving their all to trying to portray, like I said, that they're still in this relationship and there's not a huge problem going on. So, I mean, fake relationships, guys. Even when it's pretend, you know, being put in those situations, especially with somebody you've been with for so many years, it's going to rekindle old flames. And that's kind of what happens with Wynne and Harriet, but it's a difficult situation. I mean, they are trying to lie to the people that know them best. So it's very tense, like I said. It's very eventful and it's just very loving. I love this book. I love the feelings it gave me and I thought it was perfect for the summer and I think you should read it because it was so good. So the next books I have for you guys, I almost chose Chestnut Springs because if you have been here before, you know I absolutely adore that series, but we actually talked about it in my last summer recommendations video, so I grabbed Rose Hill instead. This is a newer series by Elsie Silver, and there's actually a new book, the 4th one, coming out in September, so I feel like if you delve into these and go a little crazy this summer, you will be there for release time and be able to follow this story because it has been nothing but beautiful. So I'm not gonna lie, I mainly get summer vibes from the first two versus the 3rd one, but nonetheless, the whole series is so good. And if you like being on a ranch, okay, if you love the feeling of found family and the closest knit family ever, I mean, everything about these books is utter perfection and I could not recommend them more. There are so many good tropes within these books because, I mean, you have like a forbidden love because you have a brother's best friend situation going on, and then you have a single dad times nanny situation going on, and then you have a marriage of convenience. So there are some great tropes within these books, and like I mentioned, the found family is probably my favorite aspect of these just because Elsie Silver does it like no other. She makes you feel at home with these characters, and just spending time on the ranch with these guys just makes me so happy, and I want to share that happiness with you guys. So within the first 3 books, you have Ford and Rosie, which I love them to death, okay? She rolls back into town because the city life is just not treating her well, and there lies Ford. I mean, they used to taunt each other when they were kids, and that did not end. That is still a constant thing that is going on, and just that banter, okay? You're going to eat it up. It is so well done, and I loved it. And then Wild Eyes, my favorite so far, okay? This is Skylar and Wes, and Skylar is a country singer Skylar is a country singer that's kind of going through it, okay? So she rolls into town looking for an escape and she runs into Weston Belmont, okay? And he is a single dad with the purest freaking heart and the way they love each other. It's literally gonna have you on your knees. There's no other way for me to explain it. And then in the 3rd book, you have Tabitha and Reese, and this is like an enemies to lovers, but they're not really enemies. They're just not bold enough to admit they've really liked each other from the start, you know? So they have so much banter, okay? They argue like husband and wife, and then you have the marriage of convenience, so they literally do. I will say this one didn't have as many farm ranch aspects as the first 2, and I think that's why I feel like these are more summer coded than this one, but they're also good. And like I said, if you start now, girl, you could be ready for when the new one comes out in September.
Can't do it.
You can. You can do it. You can.
The next book I have for you guys is going to be Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams, and this was a 4-star read for me, and it was utter perfection. This book honestly gave me, okay, I was in my prime of Gilmore Girls. We're not gonna talk about how it went so downhill after season 5, but this was giving season 1 through 4 vibes, and I really loved it, okay? It just made me feel like I was in Stars Hollow, and that was something I really loved about this book. But for those of you that did not watch Gilmore Girls and that does not draw you in, let me give you other reasons you should read this. Literally every character you're going to encounter within this book is so lovable, and the writing style is so addictive. I read this book super fast, okay? And you guys know I don't read that fast, okay? I be taking my time and I just can't sit with a book for super long. This one I did. I literally could not put it down. So some fun little tropes you have in this book is going to be workplace romance, enemies to lovers in forced proximity, which is such a great combo, okay? In this book, we follow Emily and Jack, and they have worked together at the school for years, and they're super sweet to everybody else, but between the two of them, they're like arch nemesis. They don't get along, and they don't try to hide the fact that they don't. So when Jack gets engaged and he's moving away to Kentucky, I believe, she's happy to see him go, but at the same time, she feels like she's not, and it's very confusing for her because she's like, I thought I really didn't like this dude. I should be happy he's moving away. I never have to see him again. But then Jack rolls back into town. Okay, that relationship did not pan out the way it was supposed to, so he's coming back home. He's going back to work, and not only that, but he literally moves in next door to her, hence the forced proximity.
So good and tasty.
Like I said, Emily is a teacher, but her true aspiration in life is to become an author, okay? She gets lost in writing, and it's something she's very, very passionate about, but she's also very nervous because being a school teacher, she doesn't know how she can go about writing these romance books that she wants to write, because it's not just YA books, okay? She's wanting to write the romance books. So she is just going through it. So having him come back into town, it's just not what she expected, but she also finds herself happy and like at peace with the fact that he's back in town. And so of course when he gets back, they get right back to their old habits, and him living next door, it just stirs the drama even more. So when Jack moves back into town, Emily is hell-bent on sabotaging his return, okay? She is like the Rory Gilmore of this town, so everybody wants to please her, everybody wants to make her happy. So when she's like, hey, he is on the no list, everyone in town is kind of trying to make this the worst experience for Jack as humanly possible. And so there just becomes a game of like sabotage, you know, they're both trying to get at each other back and forth. And one night Emily stumbles over to his house, they get in this little debacle, okay, and she goes back, she has a little too much wine, and what results from that is sending her manuscript to her boss, the principal of this school, and it is not something you want the principal to read. So she kind of talks Jack into helping her break into this man's house, get the manuscript back, and you know, from there we'll part ways. But of course that is not what happens, okay? They're trying to commit this heist together, and in there sparks start to fly, they start to have feelings about each other, and they really start to admit they don't hate each other as much as they try to act like they do, you know? And so I just found this book so fun. The banter between these two was addictive, and just the town. It's kind of like I was talking about Elsie Silver's series. It's just the environment in a book can really seal the deal for me, and this environment was nothing but perfect. So I would really recommend that you read this book. It felt like a perfect summer book because I mean, they're on summer vacation, they're not teaching at the moment, which is why he has time to renovate this house. She's writing her book. You know, they're doing their side quest during summer break. So I felt like it was a good one to put on this list, and this is my favorite Sarah Adams, so I would definitely recommend this book. Okay guys, don't act surprised, you knew this was coming. Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is a 5-star book for me, and another book that just screams summer. In this book you have Gus and January, and while they are polar opposites, they share the same job, okay? They both write books, but while January writes books with happy endings, Gus writes books where everybody dies, okay? They're complete opposites when it comes to their material and what they put out. But one summer they are neighboring in beach houses, okay, and they're both in this huge writer's block. So they kind of strike up a deal where they decide they're going to switch genres. He is going to write what she writes and make a beautiful happy ending story, and she is going to write, you know, tragedy and all of this stuff. So they are taking each other out on excursions to kind of like get them in the mindset. You know how readers do, they put themselves in the environment to kind of help sculpt their book, and this is what these two do for each other. So they're just trying to get out of this writer's block, you know. They're kind of enemies to lovers, but they're not. I think it's kind of like what we had in Beg, Borrow, or Steal. They want to pretend they're enemies to lovers, but these two just have this pull between them, and spending the whole summer together writing these novels, it's just bringing them closer together as people. And so we get to follow their story of falling in love. I mean, how else can you word it other than that? Honestly, this book is something I would really want to reread, because like I said, it's a 5-star. I haven't read it in probably 3 years. It's been so long since I first experienced this book, and I really want to get back into it. So it's kind of on my TBR. It's also a recommendation. I don't know, because I just feel like I have so many books I still need to read. So rereading is like hard for me to wrap my mind around, but it was so beautiful, and I just haven't been with these characters in so long. So do it for me. I want to live vicariously through you. So beach read. It's a perfect summer read, and I just love reading about authors within books. I don't know, it's really fun for me. Okay, and next it's time to talk about my summer TBR, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to put some tropes in the corner because I don't know a lot about these. I know about some of them, okay, but I genuinely just have these on my TBR because they look summer. I've heard great things about all of them, and I needed some summer books. So first and foremost, we have Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I read Every Summer After, I think 3 years ago, and bought this one last summer. I just have not got around to it yet. I didn't love Every Summer After like everybody else does. I feel like that's where like the kind of not rush to pick it up is coming from, but I've heard good things about it, and so I'm really hoping I will enjoy it. I mean, it's this like second chance type book. Okay, they met years ago, had a great time, agreed that they would meet a year later. She showed up, he didn't, and now years later he has shown up in her life, and she just has this undying feeling towards this guy, even though she feels she shouldn't, and they just have this second chance. So sounds fun enough, and I'm hoping to read it this summer. The next book we have is Summer Romance, and this is one I heard a lot about last year. So this one is like it's what it sounds like, okay? They want to have a summer romance because the last thing that she needs in her life right now is a commitment. She has been going through it. Her mom died 2 years ago. Her husband left her, and she hasn't worn pants with a zipper in a long time. Okay, so she's just kind of in shambles, you know? She doesn't really want anything serious, but her dog kind of claims this man for her by peeing on his leg. Okay, weird encounter, but slay. And they decide that a summer romance couldn't hurt, you know, because the last thing she needs as a single mom is baggage and problems, okay? So they kind of get themselves together in this fling, and from there we get their love story. So I don't really know much about this book, but I know I've heard good things about it, and I mean, it's literally called Summer Romance, so I feel like it has to be on my TBR. So the next book we have on our summer TBR is going to be Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy, and for some reason this just feels like a summer read to me, so I put it on my summer TBR, and I'm really hoping to read her because ever since The Off Campus by Elle Kennedy, I've been obsessed with her. I absolutely love her books, and this one just really pulled me in, especially because of the cover and the premise of the story. Okay, so what we have going on within this book is 19-year-old Abby Bly gets the opportunity to study abroad for a year in London, and she feels it's the perfect chance to finally slip out from under the thumb of her beloved but overbearing retired rock star father. She's ready to be free to discover herself, but first off to meet the girl she's rooming with. That is until she arrives at her gorgeous new flat and discover those roommates are all actually boys. That's why I bought this. It reminds me of New Girl. That's what it was. Charming, funny, insufferably attractive boys and off limits with a rule against fraternizing between housemates after unwanted drama with the previous girl. Abby has never considered herself to be a rule breaker, but soon she's lying to her father about her living situation and falling for not one, but two men she can't have. Her rugby player roommate and a brooding musician with a girlfriend. Not to mention her research for school has gotten her tangled in a deeply hidden scandal of a high nobility family surrounding her in secrets on all sides. If there's any hope of Abby finding love, answers, or a future in London, she'll have to decide which rules and hearts might be worth breaking. So this just sounds really fun, and the fact that she's going to be rooming with a bunch of boys just made me think of Schmidt, Nick, and Winston, and I love that. So that's honestly why I got this. The next book we have is Wildfire by Hannah Grace, and this is book number 2 in the Maple Hills series. And these two have had a one-night stand, okay? And she slips out before he gets the chance to ask her name because she's just not looking for all that, okay? Little does she know, days later, they're going to end up in the same location as they're going to be supervising this summer camp together, okay? And there is a rule: no fraternizing with the other camp counselors. But Aurora has never been really one to care about the rules. So these two have both joined this summer counseling camp to kind of get away from their lives at home and just have a little break. And then of course they run into each other, and they know if they break the rules, they're gonna be sent packing right back home. Neither of them want that, okay? But there's just this undeniable connection between the two that they can't really ignore. So we spent the summer with these two, and I'm really excited to get into it. I've heard mixed reviews, but it just seems like a perfect thing for the summer as we are at a summer camp, okay? The last book on our summer TBR is going to be Caught Up by Liz Tomforty, and this is one I've been eyeing for a while now, okay? I have loved the Windy City series so far, and this one is going to be my first baseball book. So in this book, we follow Kai, and he is on Chicago's MLB team, okay? And he's also a single dad who doesn't want a nanny because he doesn't have a good track record with them. They've never really worked out for him, but he has to admit to himself he needs the help. He's a very busy guy. I mean, he's in the MLB, and he gets saddled with a nanny he can't really fire. So his coach kind of stepped in and hired his daughter as Kai's nanny because he knows Kai needs assistance. He needs his player to be on the field, okay? And so, of course, he goes and hires the one person Kai feels he can't fire because it's literally the coach's daughter. So she is taking a break from work for this summer, see, and she's going to be the nanny to his kid, okay? And guys, single dad times nanny, I don't know what it is. I'm just there for it every time. It always gets me. And then the fact that this is also a baseball book. I'm so excited for this one, and I've loved all the other ones by Liz Tom-Forty. I hear like this is like a lot of people's favorite, so I'm very excited for it, and I felt like it'd be perfect for summer, especially like the forbidden love aspect, because not only do you have the coach's daughter thing, you have the fact that he's against it from the very start. It's not something he wants, so we're going to have those feelings transform very, very excessively, and I just can't wait to see what Liz does with this book. So that is going to be all the books that I want to recommend to you guys and the books that are on my summer TBR. I'm sure I will probably add more to my TBR because I seem to have this issue of constantly getting new books and not really just sticking with what I have. But for now, this is what we're looking like, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some good book recommendations for the summer because it's almost here. I literally can't wait. I'm actually going to the beach tomorrow. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. I hope you got some amazing book recs. I hope you read amazing books, and I will see you guys next week for a new video. Was that cringy? Check yes or no. Both of them just feel like crapped out when it comes to love. I don't want to say crapped out. That's disgusting. What am I talking about? You're doing well and you're fucking it up. MLB team. And my Google Home just started talking by itself. That's weird.